agronomy and field crops. In the previous chapter, if you can recall, we have discussed this term agronomy. And agronomy is a branch of agriculture that is dealing with field crops and their management. So throughout this chapter, we will see what is agronomy. We have the understanding of different types of field crops and how can we manage this. If we talk about particular in this lecture, particularly if we talk about this lecture, we will be discussing about introduction part, where I will be discussing regarding what is agronomy, what do you understand by agronomy, what are all the comes under agronomy. Where we will be moving into the crops, because into the agronomy we will dealing with field crops. For that we should know what is crops. For that, for understanding field crops, we will see the classification. That is the agenda of this lecture. So before the introduction part, let us discuss that meaning of this term agronomy. The term agronomy, if we see origin of this word, it have been derived from the Greek word. What is two Greek words, that is agros and nomos. What is this? By combining this two Greek words, the term which is agronomy came. What is the literal meaning of we see agros means field, nomos means management. Okay, when you combine both these, becomes field management. Okay, as I have discussed, agronomy is about field crops and their management. That is the literal meaning of this term agronomy, which has been derived from Greek word agros and nomos. Students, it is very important to remember that what is the origin of the term agronomy, that is Greek language, and as well as what is the meaning agros, that is field, as well as what is the meaning of nomos, that is management. Mm, Now let us see what is that actual definition of agronomy. Students, if we see the definition, it says that it which deals with principles and practice of crop production and field management. Now, for better understanding, let us break this definition into different parts and see what is the meaning, and learn what is the meaning and what all we are going to study under the agronomy. So the very first term says that it is branch of agricultural science. So students, we have discussed this thing in the very first chapter also, that agronomy is a branch of agricultural science, right? Um, you can recall that lecture. You will learn that you will see that we have learned about different branches of agriculture, and agronomy was one of that. Clear? Next says that it deals with the principles and practice of crop production. So what is that means? Principles and practice. In agronomy, we learn that agronomy is a branch of science, agriculture science, which is dealing with field crops, right? Field crops and their management. Now, for producing these field crops, there are some principles and practices to be learned. So, all these principles and practices learned under this branch of agriculture. Clear? What does that means? What is the meaning of principles and practice? So, for growing any kind of crop, we should know what is a seed requirement. We should know what kind of soil we have to, on which kind of soil we have to show these things. What is the irrigation requirement, what is the fertilizer requirement, what is the, and that is makes all principles and practices one particular crop. So in agronomy, each crop we are studying about all these principles and practices. The third thing says that is it deals with the field management. So again, its definition of agronomy, field crops and their management. So for producing good crops, for having good yield, good outcome from particular field, we should manage these crops properly. Provide the irrigation, what time we have to provide the irrigation, and what time we have to provide the fertilizer, and what time we have to provide chemicals to save the crops from the disease and insects that makes the field management. And all these things are dealt under this branch of agriculture, that is agronomy. So now I hope this is definition of agriculture agronomy is clear to you, and what all we are going to deal under this agronomy is clear. Next thing, very important thing to be learned here is that we have discussed here is that for your revision, uh, Petro de Crescency is the father of agronomy. The purpose of showing the repeating the things is make you learn and make you memorize all these things, because these are very important facts for your examination. Clear? So, students, before moving ahead, let us understand one thing, that is, previous class we have discussed that agriculture is a science, and in this class we are dealing with agronomy, which is again agricultural science, dealing with field crops and their management. All and the definition part we have learned about, it is a principles and practice of uh, and, uh, principles and practices of soils, water and crop management, where these principles and practices are derived means, in the principles and practices are derived from the different branches of agronomy, that is science, that is you can, that is called branches of agronomy, dealing with crop, dealing with soil and dealing with environment, and their study is combinedly taken into the branch of agriculture, that is agronomy. Okay, to make it understand in the better way, let me tell you, very first one is crop science, only field crop, in which we are dealing with the sowing of crops, maintenance of the crops, their harvesting, their production, the post harvest management. The science behind all these activities is under crop science. Next, where where we are going to sow that seed, ultimately in the soil, right? You have to know that how the soil is interacting with the seeds, how soil is interfering with the growth and development of the plant. So for that, another branch of agronomy is soil science, where we are dealing with all the physical, chemical and biological properties of the soil. Last one least, that is